Welcome to the Charter Township of Oakland. I'm Terry Gonser, Supervisor. We're coming to you from Township Hall, and it gives me great honor this year to welcome you to the 2014 Community Outlook Luncheon. I'd like to tell you about some of the things we've accomplished here in Oakland Township in the past year and where we're going in the future. So if you'll come with me, we'll go around Township Hall here and see what we've accomplished. Great customer service is paramount to good government, so that's been a high priority when we came to office a year ago. We've opened the building department for 5 days a week instead of the previous 4. We've made office hours available every week for the officers of the township. We put a computer in the lobby so that residents may come in and look at all the information here at Township Hall, whether it's taxes or zoning ordinances or whatever they need. And we've hired a new sheriff's deputy so that we now have desk officer 5 days a week down at the substation. And that serves our residents if they have any concerns relative to safety. So let me take you on to some of the other things we've accomplished here. Great customer service is effected with clear transparency. We have worked diligently to effect transparency through putting the meeting board packets online before the meeting so that the residents have all the background information the board is dealing with. We've also put the checkbook online now so the residents can see where and how their tax dollars are being spent. And then after the meeting minutes go online so that they can be referenced from any point that the person has a computer. This gives our residents complete insight into what the board is doing before they do it, what they're doing, and after they've done it. To effect great customer service and transparency, we have incorporated the latest in technology. From the very first meeting, we've begun televising every meeting taking place in the township. We've purchased the latest in HD cameras. We've installed the latest in new servers for our computer system. We have now backed up every piece of data in the township online instead of in hard copy or on resident computers. As you can tell, we've had a very exciting and productive first year, but looking ahead, we have a great deal more coming for us. We're obviously going to increase the use of technology. We have new master plans to update. We have this September is the 2014 Home-A-Rama. This is a huge development in Oakland Township. It's going to bring jobs to Oakland Township and a great deal of international attention with multi-million-dollar homes being exhibited for the public. Something really to look forward to. Now you've seen Oakland Township, let's look ahead and see what Rochester has to offer.
Good afternoon. I'm Mayor Jeffrey T. Cuthbertson, and on behalf of the City of Rochester, it's my pleasure to welcome you and present our update to the 2014 Community Outlook Luncheon. We're very proud to announce that Rochester was noted as one of the 10 safest places in the state by Movoto blog. Building on a safe community, the City of Rochester is now preparing the fiscal year-end 2015 budget. A few highlights of note include a real estate property tax decrease of 0.4 of a mil. With certain sewer debt being retired, the city is now in a position to responsibly reduce taxes in this amount, which will bring relief to all taxpayers. With sales increasing over 10%, taxable value is increasing at just over 3% this coming year. Half of that increase is coming from additions and new homes being built in the community. With that, the city will continue to have a balanced general fund budget and expects to have a 3-year balanced budget as well. At the center of the general fund budget are high-quality local services. One important note is our refuse contract, recently rebid, will save the community nearly $100,000 a year and include improved services. With the building blocks of a safe community with a balanced budget, the city is now seeing increased investment in the real estate sector. In particular, Rochester has recently approved River Place at Milltown Apartments, a 130-plus unit luxury apartment development along the banks of the Clinton River and Paint Creek, adjacent to downtown. Rochester values its blue water infrastructure, and we've been very fortunate to obtain a $750,000 grant from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation that allowed a complete rehabilitation of the Paint Creek throughout the municipal park, which happens to be the last cold water natural trout producing stream in southeast Michigan. In addition, the City of Rochester was awarded the National Trust for Historic Preservation's Great American Main Street Award in 2013. Rochester was just one of 3 communities so recognized for having a well-preserved and vibrant downtown business district with a traditional form. The city will continue to protect this important character-defining asset through the implementation of a historic district in the year 2014. In addition, in order to continue Rochester's growth, you will see many changes in our parking system. As we speak, new parking meters with credit card-enabled payment methodologies are being implemented throughout the downtown district. Rochester will be investing in and constructing 2 parking platforms on either side of Main Street. The first being behind the Main Street Plaza with a single platform level, doubling the capacity of this parking area. On the west side of Main Street, in the Mr. B's lot, we will be installing a 2-level platform that will nearly triple the capacity in this area. These investments, totaling over $12 million, represent a substantial investment in the future development of our community and will allow for existing businesses to continue to grow, as well as to incent development throughout the downtown business district and maintain Rochester's position as a preeminent destination community for businesses and families alike. On behalf of the City of Rochester, I'd like to thank the Greater Rochester Chamber of Commerce and everyone who's joined us today for the things you do to help make Rochester a successful community. And now I'd like to turn things over to the City of Rochester Hills and Mayor Brian K. Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to sincerely thank the Chamber for all of the great work they do to promote our community and for hosting this forum again each year. Ladies and gentlemen, Rochester Hills remains the preeminent place to live, work, and raise your family. And more people are finding that out each year. Last year, for example, home sales were off the charts, with many homeowners receiving multiple bids for more than their asking price. Our total taxable value increased by $77 million, and more than 80 new homes with an average value of $430,000 were built last year alone. Our commercial community kept pace, as we added everything from the $65 million Crittenton South Tower project to high-tech companies like Adventivation, who's changing the field of vision-guided robotics, to the opening of our second Taco Bell, where they're changing the field of ground beef and tortillas. 2013 was another banner year for job creation as our Rochester Hills businesses made national and even global news. FANUC became our first billion-dollar company, and Equus produced a Rochester Hills-based vehicle that debuted at the North American International Auto Show and caught the attention and high praise of the New York Times and Wall Street Journal. In fact, our aggressive and focused economic development plan continues to yield amazing results. Last year, we added over 500 private sector jobs, bringing our 5-year total to 3,400 new high-tech jobs. And our vacancy rate in our tech parks is now just 3.4%. That's the lowest in the last 10 years. And our unemployment rate, well, that remains the second lowest in the state for the 4th consecutive year at just 4.2%. 2013 was also a year of investment in our quality of life. Last year we opened our first community garden, and it sold out in record time with fantastic reviews. The city earned statewide recognition for our recent enhancements and restoration projects, including improvements at Veterans Memorial Point and to our roundabout at Hamlin. And most notably for the Rochester Hills Museum's reuse of the historic 1927 calf barn. With over $800,000 of private donations, we've literally raised the roof on that project.
Yay!
Whoop, whoop. Through all of this growth, we continue to be a national model for fiscal responsibility and transparency. We finished each budget year in the black, and we've added to our fund balance every year of this recession. And last month, I was asked to present to our nation's mayors in Washington, D.C. as one of 5 benchmark communities for fiscal responsibility. Friends, we are on a roll in Rochester Hills, and we have ambitious plans for 2014 that are already underway. We have over 450 new homes, condos, and apartments currently in some phase of construction. We have a dozen new restaurants and shopping centers, and even a hotel scheduled to move in over the next 12 months. Now, some of you may be a little concerned about parking, but we have a plan for that as well. And we're not forgetting our focus on sustainability and placemaking in 2014 either. Thanks to a $1 million donation, we are developing and will open later this year the city's first new park in 20 years and the region's first eco-park, promoting healthy living with a strong focus on protecting and enhancing our environmental amenities. Through it all, the thing that I am most pleased with is the quality of the team I am blessed to work with. From an outstanding and supportive City Council to an innovative and hardworking team of employees, Rochester Hills has set the bar for effective and efficient service delivery. Last year, in a citywide, statistically significant survey, we absolutely rocked it, with 97% of our residents having a positive experience in working with a Rochester Hills employee, and 99% of our residents, 99%, indicating their satisfaction with their choice to live in our city. That's the highest recorded total in our community's history. Friends, I am proud to lead the most innovative and motivated group of municipal employees anywhere in the state of Michigan. And I'm proud of our city's position as a fiscal, environmental, and collaborative leader. And I'm looking forward to a totally awesome 2014. Totally radical. Hold on. Over to you, Bob.
Wow, here we go again. Hello, I'm Robert Shaner, Superintendent for the Rochester Community Schools. I want to thank you for inviting us to be part of the annual Community Outlook Luncheon this year. I'm joined here today by members of the Board of Education and my administrative cabinet. For the past 4 years, the Rochester Community Schools' vision of college-ready, career-ready, and life-ready has been the catalyst for developing a comprehensive K-12 educational experience for the students of the greater Rochester area. In October, we launched a strategic planning process that will position us to not only maintain Rochester Community Schools' reputation as a lighthouse district in Oakland County, but to broaden our reach by offering programs and services that allows our graduates to compete on a global scale. Our partnerships with local businesses and higher education tell us that the best jobs of the future will go to people who are adept at problem solving, application of information technology, teamwork, collaboration, creativity, and innovation. Rochester Community Schools is committed to teaching and learning that paves the way to deeper understanding, more analytical thinking, and a greater ability to apply knowledge. We would not be the high-achieving district that we are without the dedicated and caring individuals serving our children. Brian Peterson, 5th grade teacher at Musson Elementary School, is just one example. Brian was one of 2 teachers in Michigan to receive the 2012 Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. As the 18th largest employer in Oakland County, we recruit and retain the best and the brightest highly qualified teachers, administrators, and support staff. We know that Rochester Community Schools must be fiscally responsible, operationally effective, and publicly accountable. The Board of Education and I are committed to being good stewards of the community's tax dollars, ensuring sustainability, taxpayer value, and growth. The important connection between the school and the home is one of the driving forces behind student achievement. This year, we'll recognize 61 graduating seniors for achieving our highest academic honor, which requires a 32 on the ACT, a 3.9 grade point average, and completion of 4 advanced placement classes. These students will go on to the best universities in the world. We have much to be proud of in the Rochester Community Schools. Our students take top honors in almost every field and match their talents with their generosity. But today is not about where we've been, it's about where we're going, and I can assure you that we're headed for great things. I'm excited to be on that journey, and I invite you to join me. Thank you.
Okay, we've got some great questions from the audience. Thank you, Michael. First of all, let me apologize for my voice. I woke up with a little frog in my throat this morning, but that shouldn't stop us from having a great program. It is my pleasure to introduce our panel for today's Community Outlook Luncheon and Conversation. If you would, hold your applause until everyone has been introduced and gotten their water. First, let me start with the Honorable Brian Barnett. He served as Rochester Hills mayor for nearly 8 years. He says he remains relentlessly focused on making Rochester Hills the preeminent place to live, work, and raise a family. A graduate of this fine university, Oakland University, Brian and his wife, Corinne, have 2 children. Welcome, Mayor Barnett. Okay, come on. Next, the Honorable Jeffrey Cusperson. As a graduate of Rochester Community Schools, he also attended the University of Michigan and Cooley Law School. He was elected to the City of Rochester's Council in 2005 and has been mayor since 2008. Mayor Cusperson's service to his community does include Leader Dogs for the Blind and, of course, the Oakland University Incubator. He and his wife Karen are the proud parents of 2 daughters. Welcome, Mayor Cusperson. Dr. Robert Shaner, born and raised right here in Sterling Heights, joined the Rochester Community Schools in March from the Warren Consolidated School District, where he was in charge of instruction and technology. He received his PhD from this fine university, Oakland University. His educational experience does include being a teacher and a principal. In addition, he has worked as a juvenile detective for the Troy Police Department, so keep an eye on your kids. He's also a proud officer, was a proud officer in the Marine Corps. He and his wife, Kim, have 3 children. Welcome, Dr. Shaner. And last, but of course not least, Ann Capella, our newest member on the panel, joined Oakland Township as manager just 6 weeks ago. So we need to be a little nice to her, okay? A graduate of Wayne State University with a master's in public administration, she brings experience in government from Michigan, California, Colorado, and Wisconsin. She has background in IT and municipal water experience, just to name a few. After her Western adventures, she has returned home. She's an avid outdoor person and with 4 grandchildren in the area to keep her active. Welcome, Ms. Capella. Okay, Michael, you've got the first question.
And the first question that we have is for all of our panelists. And the question is, what is your biggest challenge facing your community, or in the case of the school district, over the next 2 years, and how do you plan to address it? So we'll start with Dr. Shaner.
Why, thank you. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Hello. Yes. Excellent. I just turned it on. So I don't see the challenge that we face as a school district. It's really over the next 2 years.
Try it again. Just a little closer to your mouth.
Is that better?
Yes.
Some people say never to give me one of these. Now I know why. One of the what I'd like to say about that is really it's not a challenge for the next 2 years. It's a challenge as the face of education has changed. As you all know, when we all went to school, it was more about content probably than instruction. And as with the advent of the internet and information being everywhere, the name of our game nowadays is instruction, world-class instruction that allows our students to compete on a global basis. So we're constantly reinventing ourselves and thinking about new ways to reach kids, to deliver an education that's not only world-class but allows them to compete on a global basis.
Wow, makes managing a municipal budget seem fairly underwhelming. But I think from the City of Rochester's perspective, the next 2 years is really managing what we've come out of economically and tempering, the often likelihood of governments seeing a few bucks come in as the economy improves and finding a way to spend them. I think it's a continued challenge to be fiscally conservative, to make wise infrastructure investments, and continue to deliver high-quality services in that environment. So, looking at this, the next 2 years as a transition point, and trying to be very careful about the decisions that get made in terms of financial priorities, I think is probably the most important thing that the council will deal with. And then certainly, I think continuing to help people with tax relief as the economy gets better. Clearly, if revenues do increase and governments are more efficient, those efficiencies in large part need to be, at least in my opinion, returned to the taxpayers.
For Oakland Township, I think one of the most important things is to do some land use planning. As you know, Oakland Township, southern portion of it is more urban, whereas the northern portion is still rural. We do have to plan for land use and subsequently infrastructure that goes with the land use, which is water, roads, and how we are going to anticipate the growth. No doubt that the economic situation is improving, albeit slightly. It is going to remain a challenge for us how to lay down the planning and the infrastructure that is probably poised for growth.
I think in Rochester Hills, you know, if you were to sum it down, generally they all come back to some sort of financial picture, and whether it be, you know, we've been very financially sound, and the council has given good management over the years, so we're not in the situation a lot of our not neighbors on this panel, but neighbors around us in Metro Detroit. But there are certainly things that you have to be mindful of. You know, healthcare costs. Our healthcare costs go up, you know, 15 to 20% each year. With hundreds and hundreds of employees, that's a significant issue. We're closely following what's happening with the Detroit Water and Sewer and the negotiations with the county. Brooks Patterson is here leading our county's efforts. That's something that's going to affect all of us, no matter what your address is in here. So that's something we're closely following. And then probably the biggest challenge for us is infrastructure maintenance. Thankfully, we don't have potholes in Rochester Hills. But you're not supposed to blow me up, man. But other communities have that problem, and we know that we have an infrastructure challenge, you know, in the $50 to $80 million range, and our council's been very proactive in adding more and more dollars to the budget. But even this year, we're proposing to spend about $5 million in local roads. So with an $80 million problem and a $5 million solution, you recognize you're not going to solve it all in a year. So infrastructure management will probably be our biggest challenge.
All right, the next question, and we'll start with Mayor Cuthbertson, is what current legislation, state, federal legislation, is on your radar, on your community or school district's radar, and why? Why are you paying so much attention to that piece of legislation?
Quickly, I think there are two pieces that are of most interest. The first is one that affects us all in this terrible winter, and we've touched a little bit on roads, is additional funding, supplemental funding for road budgets, $100 million that the legislature is in some step of appropriating for county and local governments to deal with, obviously huge challenges coming out of a very cold and very snowy winter. So keeping an eye on that. And then secondly, for Rochester, having a downtown development authority, there's a great deal of talk about legislation changing a whole number of aspects that relate to DDA. So, given our focus and our commitment to our downtown business district through our DDA, that's something that clearly is at the top of the pile, so to speak.
Ms. Capello?
One of the things that I'm taking a look at is, what's the national health care going to do to employment, and our although at this point the Oakland Township does not have any legacy costs, and we hope to continue that, and that's how we've prospered. So how that is going to shake out, that's a concern for us.
A couple things. I mean, I think we're, this, for any of you who followed the long and winding road of personal property tax in the state of Michigan, that even as late as the last couple of weeks, it looks like that, municipalities may be reimbursed for personal property tax. City of Rochester Hills personal property taxes, a lot of your local business owners in here, you're probably aware of those, a little bit of an onerous tax, unusual in the Midwest, except here in Michigan, and looking to get that tax out of the state system, cities were going to lose that revenue. In Rochester Hills, it's about 6%. of our total tax value. But now it looks like it's coming back in, so that's one that we're obviously closely following. This one isn't very sexy, but the city has legislation that we've sponsored through our connections and through our representatives in Lansing about slip and falls in roadways and helping governments deal with those. And so kind of authored through some examples and some illustrations we had in the city, and that's one that we're following, but we're probably the only people following that one, honestly. And then some of the other things, obviously the introduction of national health care has a major impact on us, and depending on which paper you read and when you read it, you know, employers are affected in different ways, and obviously that's something that we have to pay attention to.
Dr. Shaner?
Thank you. I could talk about the budget until we're all needed to, for those of us that shave, need to shave again, or those of us that do need to do something else. I'm not going to talk about the budget. More money is, of course, always better than less. What I'm going to talk about is the business of instruction. Two pieces of legislation that we're following closely are educator effectiveness, which has to do with teacher evaluation. I was in Lansing last Wednesday watching the hearing on that. Interesting to see what the state's going to choose statewide for teacher evaluation. And closely tied to that, in terms of assessment, we are still waiting to hear from the state of Michigan. If you're not aware of it, the MEP test will not be administered this year. We're waiting for a new assessment, and we wait patiently to find out what the legislature is going to choose for an assessment. And hopefully it'll be something that's focused on career and college readiness, but it's something we in the profession of education and world-class instruction watch closely.
Great, thank you very much. This question will be for Mayor Cuthbertson. There's a few of us who are interested in parking meters. So it's kind of a multiple cards here. What prompted the city of Rochester to reinstall parking meters? And if there's going to be a fee for parking in the two new structures, will there be a 2-hour or more grace period like there is in Birmingham and other cities?
Sure, I'll start with the easy one, which is the parking platforms and the fees associated with that. Yes, there will be a 2-hour grace period. After that, $1 an hour. We think the city of Birmingham has done some things well and don't see any reason to do something differently at this point. As to the idea of reinstalling the parking meters, it's a bit of a long answer, and I'll try to get through it quickly. Right now, the city has 25 plus parking lots, and it's not a very good land use as you need more parking to take down buildings and install asphalt. Parking garages are very, very, very expensive. You heard me talk about $12 million for parking platforms, and went through it in a little more detail at this morning's press conference. But in essence, just the bond debt service on those platforms is about $900,000 a year. So in order to have a comprehensive parking management district that can begin to finance itself, a fee in a meter is required. I want to be clear, the city and the DDA, as well as the property owners, will also, through a special assessment, will be contributing to funding the parking management district. So we've taken a three-legged stool approach that doesn't just put all the costs on to the parking consumer, and we think that's a very important and responsible way to deal with it. So long answer to a short question.
Thank you. Mayor Barnett, what is the status of the Tinkin Road project between Rochester Road and Livernois and the turnaround?
Yeah, easy one. I'd like to talk about parking in Rochester, actually, preferably. The Tinkin project, as you know, last year we completed the, I say we, it's a partnership with the Road Commission for Oakland County. They own the road. But we completed the section from Sheldon to Rochester Road, and then this year we'll do the section from Rochester Road east to Livernois. That project is on schedule. We've acquired all the right-of-way. Construction will begin in May, be completed by November, and you know, hopefully that project will move smoothly. The project is for a 3-lane road with a roundabout at Livernois and Tinkin Road. You know, people have an instant reaction to roundabouts, I know, but we like them. We you know, they basically do 3 things. Funny, people say, you know, Mayor, I hear there's a roundabout coming in, and they'll say, listen, now, Mayor, I like roundabouts, but it's all those other idiots that drive them that can't. And you hear that over and over, and at some point I figure I have to be talking to those idiots at some point because not everyone. But they're faster, they move traffic more efficiently, they're cheaper to build, and they're safer. And when you win on all three of those things, it's where the county's going with projects. And so there'll be a roundabout there. It'll look a little different than the one at Hamlin. It'll have a slip lane. So if your normal travel movement is north on Livernois to east on Tinkin, you won't even enter the roundabout. You'll enter through a slip lane. So it'll have the hawk lighting system to help with the pedestrian traffic, which we know is higher in that area than in our other roundabouts. It'll be our 8th roundabout in the city.
All right, the next question is for Dr. Shaner. What is the biggest budget challenge moving forward for the school district?
Well, I'm really glad not to be talking about roundabouts and parking. So, the biggest budget challenge for the school district is probably very closely related to those that my municipal colleagues have here. A growing lack of control over revenue, and the board and I and our team are very, very committed to sustainability, great stewardship of the taxpayers' money, and a high value for that taxpayer dollar. But our biggest challenge really is managing that revenue year over year and just waiting to see what's going to come in. Always challenging to sit and wait, and I know everyone up here has the same issue where they wait to see what the revenue is going to be and what changes are going to come from Lansing, and that's our greatest challenge. We're committed to sustainability. We have a business plan for growth, and we're excited about that, but it is a challenge.
And this question is for Ms. Capella. What is the status of the bike path connection project in Oakland Township?
Which one?
That's all. That's what it said.
That's what it says.
Yep.
Okay. Pick the easiest one. There were a couple connectors for paths that we are looking to do from the 7 weeks I've been there. What I noted is there is about $1.2 million set aside for some constructions of some trails. So the funds are there. I think that we need to have the committee work a little faster and actually have a plan for implementation. As many of you know, Oakland Township does not lack funds for doing these things. We just have so many projects going that the funds are there, and we need to move forward with the plan.
Okay. So this question is for everyone. Some of you have touched on this a little bit, but I think we'd like some more information, and that is, obviously, we've all been victim to the severe weather this winter. And our diminishing road budgets, have obviously been also in the news. Where does your budget stand? How and how quickly are we going to deal with the bad roads from this winter? And for those roads that are not in your control, what are you going to be doing to help get MDOT and the County Road Commission to address our local problems? Why don't we start with Mayor Barnett?
Oh, great. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, hey, we've had a lot of snow. It's been the worst winter in 100 years, and I was asking our team for the information, and so 2 years ago in January we spent $75,000 on snow plowing. 2 years ago, $75,000. This year in January we spent $335,000 in snow plowing. Got numbers from our team this week, and we're at 78% of our budget year to date, and our budget, of course, generally is 2/3 in the first half of the year. We're a calendar year, and 1/3 in the end. So we're not going to run out of money. We'll be fine. We'll move things over. But obviously, it's been a big drain on our expenses. The challenge that we have a lot of times is that I get calls daily. Mayor, there's a pothole on Tinkin, there's a pothole on Walton, and we don't control those roads. So what we do is we take that information, we call the Road Commission. Now, even as late as yesterday, we're talking about more creative approaches to how we can get solutions even sooner. Alan, wave your hand. Alan's my director of the Department of Public Services. This guy has been my best friend for the last 60 days because when someone calls me, I point to him. I want to mention him. He and his team have done an absolutely fantastic job. They get a lot of compliments. They do get a lot of complaints because it's not an easy job to do, but I'm proud of our team and the work that they've done. It has been incredibly challenging with the time of the snowfall, the duration of the snowfalls, and things of that nature. And we constantly are looking for ways to improve the service. We are open to suggestions, and Alan and his team do a great job for us.
Mayor Cuthbertson?
Sure. In Rochester, we actually do control most of our own roads. Main Street and Parkdale west of Letica are the only roads not under municipal control. So we're dealing with them, obviously, very prompt basis. Sort of borrowing on what Mayor Barnett said, I heard last night we bought rock salt for spreading on the roads for $43 a ton. The price yesterday or last week was something over $250 a ton, based on scarcity of the supply. So it has been very expensive. We will have to allocate some money from other areas to cover our operational and plowing budget. But I will too give the highest commendment to our DPW group and department. Our director isn't here today. I don't know if he's on a snowplow or not right now, but presume that he is. You can rely on, in 24 hours in Rochester, absent Snowmageddon, the road in front of your house, the road in front of your business is going to be clear. You're going to see pavement, and that's something that I think we deliver in spades upon, and I'm very proud of that as well. When it comes to the thaw, will have a lot to do with in terms of how bad the problem gets in terms of road condition. I've been told the thaw is very, very deep, and if it thaws very quickly, the road heaving that will happen could be catastrophic in a lot of places. So I don't think we're out of the woods yet. So on that happy note, somebody else take a turn, please.
Ms. Capella?
I've been here 7 weeks, and I met with the Oakland County Road Commission 3 times. And they've been wonderful to respond, and we often tell the callers, especially the really frustrated callers that leave messages on my phone. And I did yesterday drive Dutton and Silver Bell roads, and I literally left my cookies on the road because it is very bad. And those are, of course, are unpaved roads. Living in the mountains, the roads that are dirt roads are difficult to manage, and the thaw is going to be bad. What we can do, all of our residents are asking if we can pave the roads, and we tell them to call the Oakland County Road Commission. But it is a challenge, and I think it's going to get worse when we have the thaw. There are no easy solutions, and we keep continuing working with our residents.
Anybody here from the Oakland County Road Commission? I don't want to point you out, but anybody here?
Go ahead, raise your hand, come on.
Okay, so the next question we have for everybody on the panel, we'll start with Dr. Shaner. How have you worked collaboratively with the other panelists over the past year?
Almost to the day that I started at this position, we've been working hard to build partnerships with local businesses and local municipalities. We've last spring we started our community dialogue breakfast, which with nonprofits in the community, government officials, people from this university. We've worked really hard to build those partnerships. We've worked diligently with Mayor Barnett, Mayor Cupperson in a number of projects. One of them is kind of fun, the Paint the Plow project. Our middle school and high school and elementary school kids painted snow plows with their logos, which I think was just a nice step in the right direction. I just wish the paint was still on the plows, but now that they're overused, we don't have that anymore. But we've worked closely. Last fall we had a joint city council meeting, school board meeting with the mayor of the city and the city of Rochester Hills, and we continue to work on those partnerships, both educationally as well as with businesses. One of the things we're really proud of is with our partnerships with local businesses to benefit our high school kids and getting that work experience as well. Organizations like Takata. Thank you.
Well, I've actually been to a few Brian Barnett fundraisers in the last couple of years, so I don't know if that counts.
Invitations in the mail.
Yeah, it always is.
They're being nice to Ann. You can see they're being nice to Ann. Don't expect it next year, Ann.
I'm glad I'm between to keep the boys apart.
She said she's going to take our trucks away if we don't play nice.
In all sincerity, though, I do think that the three communities, the school district, do work very well together and closely. Obviously, we can talk about things like OPC, RARA, RIA, the police school liaison program that we all fund, and have continued through very difficult times, made that a priority in all of our budgets. So I think there's a great foundation of cooperation in the region. I think there's opportunity for more. I think as we look towards youth recreation, and some of my colleagues who are here from the City Council heard about interest in a skate park in Rochester, and we're looking for a regional solution, so more to come on that. Thank you.
If I may, just real quickly, I think one of the things it's difficult to answer that question, because in the last couple of years, just by necessity, we've all come to grow very interdependent in the services that we provide to the community. And you really have to sit and think about the things that you've done specifically in partnership, because you work in partnership almost continuously.
I've had a chance already to meet with a number of the community leaders, and particularly already had a working lunch with the city manager of Rochester. And we welcome any opportunity to work, but I also know that Supervisor Gonser is probably, in my humble opinion, one of the hardest working supervisors I've ever met. He's out there on every committee belonging to the groups, and he's really out there working in the community. And I know he attends all the meetings, so he, in fact, is often at the office sooner than anyone else, and is the last one to leave. So I know that he's working with the other communities.
I noticed that he's not here today. Just kidding. I know, sorry. I can feel my voicemail ringing right now from Terry. You know, if you live in any one of these three communities, you can be extremely proud. When you look statewide, our region is usually held up as the benchmark for community partnerships and collaborations. And my colleagues here have shared some of them. I mean, we could go on and on. The high-level ones like the library and the OPC. But on a much more, I think, impactful region or impactful level, there's hardly, I mean, it'd be harder to find things that we don't do together. I mean, we care for the city of Rochester's vehicles in our DPS facility. Last year when we recognized that our community, as the survey I mentioned in the video, 99% of our people enjoy living here, the two reasons that tied the character of the community and the school district. So we held a joint press conference with Dr. Shaner, Dr. Heitch from Avondale School Districts, and myself. School bands were there. We wanted to celebrate that together. We've gone in for joint grant applications for improving our trail network. So we've looked at the regional issues in terms of water resources and so forth. So there are lots of things. You know, for the election, we borrowed 80 of Dr. Shaner's students to work on our elections. We have a youth council that's closely coordinated with the schools. So there are lots of things that we work together on, and I think that's one of the things that if you leave here with a message, it's that the leaderships of these areas, these constituencies are working closely together.
We're coming to a close, but what we'd like to do is do a little lightning round, if you will. Please answer in one or max 2 sentences the following question. What are your top 3 points of pride from this past year? Ann Capella.
Improvement in technology for Oakland Township. I think the community has done a lot of work to improve communication, to improve transparency, and to deliver good services to township residents.
Jeff Cuthbertson.
Multi-year balanced budget, Great American Main Street Award, and probably getting tired of hearing about it, parking strategy finished.
Bob Shaner.
Well, it's always about the kids. Very proud of our students in Rochester and the work they've done with our top scholars and with just curricularly across the board. Extremely proud of our Board of Education and the steps they've taken towards stewardship, including our recent bond refunding that's been able to lower our debt levy. And I'm just really proud of the staff, the students, the staff, and the teachers that I work with. I can't say enough about the great work that they do.
And Brian Barnett.
I'd say probably the financial recognition we've received for being so forward-thinking in our financial work and our budgeting. Probably the exciting project I'm working on for the next couple of years, the new park development, the $1 million donation and that work. And then third, I think the ultimate compliment you can get is when your residents say you're doing a good job in that survey, which we did so well in conjunction with Oakland University. Huge point of pride for our entire staff.
And the last lightning round. If you could have lunch with any living person in the world, who would it be and why? Jeff Cuthbertson.
There's so many good jokes here. I'm going to let him go though. I think probably Bill Gates. I have a real keen interest in successful entrepreneurs and people that take ideas and translate them into action and change the world literally. So I think that'd be a really interesting experience.
Dr. Shaner?
He stole my answer. You can see we're very like-minded. I'd like to sit down with Bill Gates too, and probably for a little bit of a different reason.
You want his money.
Absolutely. He pumps a lot of money into school districts and reform, in taking risks to see what works, and I'd love to sit down and talk to him. He and his wife and his foundation about that.
Ms. Capella?
Kind of a toss-up between Governor Schneider and President Obama. I just wanted to know where all the money that we were promised for infrastructure and all those stimulus packages, where's our money for roads and bridges? What happened to that?
And Mayor Barnett?
Well, that would be an awkward lunch right there. So they all give really good answers. Mine, I probably would have lunch. So my family's from England, and I have still a lot of family there, and so I'm a huge royal family guy. I actually I'm a huge Downton Abbey fan. So I would pick lunch with the Queen of England, but I would want to have it at C.J. Mahoney's. Because I don't want it to be fancy and stuck up. I want us both to be in jeans, maybe watching a Tigers game, and just talking about stuff. I'd pick the Queen of England at C.J. Mahoney's.
Wow. Wow, that's never, ever going to happen. But all right, so now we'll allow kind of a 1-minute closing statement, and we'll start with Dr. Shaner and go down the row.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like you. Thank you very much for inviting the school district into the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce. We're proud to have me serve on the board, as well as to be in partnership with these 3 municipalities. You may be aware that the school district is in the process of strategic planning, and we move forward with our implementation of that plan, which hopefully will involve many, many people in this room as we build partnerships. So again, I thank you for including us. I look forward to building our partnerships and a bright future for the Rochester Community Schools and the greater Rochester area.
Mayor Cuthbertson.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Chamber as well. This is a great forum, obviously, for us to have a discussion about what's happening in this community. I'd be remiss if I didn't take a minute and thank my colleagues on the City Council, Rob Ray, Kim Russell, and Kathy Dalton, who are here today, and our member emeritus and our county commissioner, Jeff Mattis. We've had our city management team here with the manager and the chief and DDA director and assistant city manager for community and economic development, who has the longest title in the history of governmental enterprise. 2014 is a great opportunity for Rochester to pivot and look forward, and it's really exciting to be a part of a city council and a government that isn't responding to pure economic chaos anymore, and that we can get into some of the more strategic planning exercises that help our community grow over the long term. And I think that's a unique transition point, and it's an exciting time in this area, and I'm real glad to be a part of it.
Ms. Capella?
First of all, just wanted to let everybody know how pleased I am to be here. I think Oakland Township is the most beautiful place that I've lived in, and I've lived in many places in the United States. I love the outdoors, so I look forward to that. There's a number of challenges that the township has, and I think one of the more significant that we need to grapple is what we are going to do with water. For many years, the township thought about joining the Detroit Water, and of course, at this time, my recommendation would be I wouldn't want to marry up to Detroit Water. So there are some alternatives, and we'd like to explore that. I'm happy to work with all the communities.
We have a water plant.
I'm happy that we're going to work with the communities and explore those, and those are the things that will have to be addressed because it's about infrastructure. I look forward to the summer, as soon as it comes, to go biking and hiking and a little bit of kayaking and just all the things that we enjoy outdoors.
And Mayor Barnett?
Thanks. Mayor, you can get your lunch scheduled right after she meets with Governor and the President. Some schedule. You know, man, I tell you what, we are so blessed. I think all of you know that who live and work in this area. We have a great community. We have so much to be proud of, and no matter where your address is, you've got something special here. And I'm privileged to be a part of a great team at the City of Rochester Hills. We have an outstanding city council who's doing an absolutely great job. We have a great staff, and I get to come up and talk about a lot of the innovative things. You know, our city has done a lot of first ever or leads the state in this, and we've got a really exciting announcement we're going to make in early March about some new communications tools that we're going to have for the residents to communicate even quicker with the city. We announced today in a press conference some new support that we're offering to small businesses, a partnership with Google. I'm a marketing guy. Bam, there it is. Rochester Hills, get your business online. But there are lots of things that we're doing, and man, I am so grateful to be a part of this community, so blessed to be a part of a team that understands that innovation is where it's at, how you make great communities and how you keep great communities as you keep coming up with new ideas and keep trying to improve what you're doing, and we really have a great group of people that do that here. So I want to thank the Chamber, thank our City Council and our staff that are here, and all the great people for participating in this and allowing us as your leaders to get out there, knowing that we have the support of the community to do some great things and make a mark in this area of the world for our community. Thanks.
All right, I just want to thank our panelists, and we'll have John Gaber, President of our Chamber Board, come up to make some final comments.
If I may, I have some gifts that are were given to me to pass along to the two mayors.
Sure.
Don't kill the messenger.
Can I use it to fill a pothole?
First of all, I really wanted to wrap it nicer, but Terry said, nah, just give it to him in the bag.
So last year's bobblehead doll.
I'm glad I didn't get that one. Great.
It has a lot more hair.
I do not have the inside track on the joke. I'm only
Neither
there
do
to
we.
get gifts. But I was asked to just unceremoniously give you these gifts, and perhaps you can tell everyone what the meaning of those gifts are. Bobbleheads?
I don't know, but look for this on eBay in about 45 minutes.
Proceeds go to Leader Dog for the Blind.
I heard they go for $100 a dog.
Oh, jeez. Well, thank you, everyone. I want to thank our panelists for their superb handling of our new Community Outlook Luncheon format. I want to thank Mike and Carla for participating and helping out with this as well. And then, on behalf of the Chamber, we have a small token of our appreciation that we'd like to share with all of you. No bobbleheads, right, Sherry? Okay. And this concludes our program today. Thank you to Shelton Buick GMC, Oakland University, all of our Chamber partners and table sponsors for today's event. We also truly appreciate the work of the City of Rochester Hills media team for the production skills and developing the videos, especially that last little clip. So thank you for attending and supporting the Chamber, and as Sherry says, go create commerce. Thanks.